All right, guys, welcome to today's podcast, the Local Yokels Podcast. Thanks for joining us. Before we get started, I want to make sure we always thank our sponsors, which is going to be RoofWorks Roofing Company. And you can reach those guys at roofworksmidsouth.com. You can also call Josh over there at 901-500-7231. 7235. And then we have a new sponsor for our show, Hamilton Landscaping. You can reach Scott over there at 662-420-6428. These are great local people that do amazing work, whether you need a roof inspected, replaced, just some repair done, or they can give you an idea of what you need to get done, but they're very trustworthy people. Always can count on them. And then Scott over at Hamilton Landscaping, if you need your yard sprayed, mowed, whatever you need, he's the guy for that. He's got great deals, great products. He provides great service. So reach out to those guys, support them because they support us. Thank you. And Feed My Lambs, I can never forget them because it's always an ongoing to feed these children on the weekends. It's a food security program that we have where we put food in their backpacks in order to make sure they get fed until they get back to school on Mondays. Feed My Lambs, and you can reach them at minormemorial.org/lambs, or you can call them at 662-781-1333. And you can always just sponsor a child, give $10, give whatever you can give. We appreciate it. It goes a long ways. Thank you very much. Without further ado, let's introduce today's guest, Melissa Dabar.
Hey,
local attorney, local helper of all things. We're going to get into that, but like you're involved in a lot of stuff, Melissa. So
maybe too much stuff. Don't tell on me.
I won't tell on y'all today. We're going to tell everything.
We're going to tell it all.
Yeah. And I wanted to get into also local attorney as we're in Hernando, Mississippi at the great SRP Studios with the amazing producer, Derek Michaud. And we want to make sure that we give him a little bit of props too, because without him, we can't do any of this.
That's right.
So, but we are in DeSoto County, Mississippi. That's what we're focused on.
That's what we're focused on.
So anyway, Melissa, tell us a little bit about your law practice first and foremost. What you focus on is Dabar Law.
I focus on paying the bills.
Yeah.
Yes. So
do you specialize in something like?
I specialize in paying those bills.
Okay.
If I can,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
So I am a solo practitioner, meaning that I don't have any other attorneys out there.
No partners.
No partners. Yeah. So that gives me actually freedom to take what I want to take. And there's like general practice of law, meaning that I can take, family law, criminal law. I don't do bankruptcy. I do some personal injury, just not a lot of it. I don't do Social Security cases. I could, but I don't. And I'm primarily known for divorce, child custody, and criminal law. I do estate planning, meaning wills, estates. I'm also a nurse, so some people trust me as far as like elder law,
right? Medical,
geriatric type, So, but yes, whatever pays the bills. One of the things I really love to do that I'm getting to have more opportunity to do is to help small businesses get started and people that have great ideas. When we all know that DeSoto County is a wonderful place to make your dreams come true, and your family and everybody's needing side incomes and dreams and ideas and that sort of thing. So I love to sit down and talk to people with small business ideas and try to help problem solve.
Right.
How do we make it happen?
Yeah, and how to protect themselves.
How to protect themselves from risk. And I have the opportunity to review a policy and procedure manual, things that protect the business owner from exposure to liability.
Yeah, matter of fact, I actually talked to you about that just with our program we're doing because we're building a truck.
Yes.
To give away for Feed My Lambs, and I taught you about how we're going to have to protect all of ourselves, just in case.
Yes.
There's always one in the crowd, right? So
I'm happy to sit down and help people, especially nonprofits, churches. Yeah. A lot of churches have consulted me, and I do my best to make that a free consult.
Sure.
So.
Well, your time's valuable. I think they understand that. I certainly understand that. But from everybody I know that knows you, they always talk about what an awesome person you are and how you try to go the longest yard to help them out. You know what I mean?
I try.
So, do you mess with divorce stuff at all?
Too much.
Yeah, I got you.
It's heartbreaking.
It is.
It is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But, some people, I help a lot of people get back together.
That's even better.
I had a lady years ago that came in and I said, well, why do you want a divorce? And she goes, it's either that or kill him.
Oh.
And I said, well, let's sit down and talk about some options. So I'm definitely looking at options, and I'm happy to, help open those options up and help a person that's dead set on murder to maybe look at another option.
Man.
But I've helped people get back together. And then some people, have been married for decades, and it really shouldn't have been more than a one-night stand. Maybe a child conceived and then 5 more after that, that they never should have been together to start with. So some people, I feel like I've done a good job.
I guess it'd be like a counselor of some sorts. Like, you start out, you're, a little bit with that, just finding out where they're at in the relationship and maybe where did it go wrong. Maybe we can solve some problems besides just trying to split assets and get out of it. So that's really good. I
am a Christian, so I know that in the Bible it says God hates divorce. I hate divorce. It's horrible. It's horrible. But if I try to help people. So I'm not going to come in and just because you pay me money does not mean I'm going to take your case. If I'm going to look at all the options, let you make the choice as if that's what you really want. I have to, in my own heart, be able to know that I've helped you.
Sure, you made an effort.
I don't want to hurt you.
If they go, Melissa, there is no shot at this. Stop talking to me about reconciliation. This dude's got to go.
He's got to go.
Then you got to get on your lawyer hat, and then you got to be like, let's figure out how to get out of this. Yeah.
I also kind of look behind the person and also see the children that are behind them that are represented.
I was one of those kids.
Yeah,
like I knew.
Horrible, yeah. But I'm excited about practicing law. I'm very thankful and honored to be an attorney. And I still sometimes pinch myself, am I really doing this, or am I really smart enough to be a lawyer? Well, I guess I am, I'm smart enough.
Well, and you've done a lot beyond that. I know that anybody that may be watching this that don't know Melissa from an attorney standpoint, you might know her from House of Grace, and that's something you come in and did a show, Miss You and Sarita, about 2 months ago, maybe.
Yes.
And, that's how I got to know you. I fortunately have never used your services.
Yes, I don't want you to.
Yeah, I don't ever want to be in your office, by the way.
I don't want. I'll try to help you get back together.
Yeah, that's right.
I can probably help you get it fixed.
Man, I love my wife. Don't worry. Now, she may not love me like I love. No, she does. She loves me.
I do. Yeah. I love love stories. Thankfully, sometimes people follow through with the divorce and they have new happily ever afters, and they invite me to their wedding.
Oh,
so
that's awesome. Yeah.
And this shouldn't really, y'all should just really keep this on the down low.
Okay.
But there is a couple in this, and they share this story freely, and I do too, but I won't give their names, but they came to me about helping them get a divorce. And they said, it's all going to be worked out. I said, no. I said, I'm not going to participate in this. And they said, why not? And I said, well, because I've prayed for your marriage. I'm not interested. I can't go against my prayers. I've already prayed for your marriage, so I'm not going to do your divorse. And they're like, well, we've got it all worked out. We're going to pay you. I said, nope, you can't pay me. Can't pay me enough money to go against my prayers. So they did it, went through with it and everything. And later on, I was able to counsel with one of them, and they were able to put their marriage back together, or God put their marriage back together. And then it came time for them to get married again, and they asked me to be the maid of honor.
Amazing.
And I said, you're really going to mess up a good divorce practice
Lordy.
if you keep this up.
Jesus.
So,
that's a pretty amazing story, really.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So
it's really a good thing.
So with that, you do obviously criminal law. People have problems with DUIs, drugs, the normal stuff I guess that's really running rampant in our community a lot. So people that looking for a good representation, you'd be a good person obviously to reach out to that. And I know you probably do more of that than you want to, to be honest with you. So in this community, I think every community in America is going through the same problem. It's everywhere.
Yes.
I had Stacy Dodd and Mr. McKinney on just last week. Them. Yeah, they're amazing people.
I used to be in their Hope Center.
Did you?
Yes,
yeah.
I love
that's what
that.
I want to talk about.
Yes.
So just stop right there. First of all, I was going to say that they alluded me to more and more, like it's just an ever-growing problem in society, and how there's multiple places like there's with the Woodland Center and stuff where there's drug and alcohol addiction rehab centers. And but however, getting back to that, that's what I was talking about earlier when I talked about you being involved with the House of Grace, is how you're not just an attorney. All right, that's how you pay your bills. That's your day job. Right. But you got this hat that you wear, multiple different hats all the time. You know, all of a sudden you're over here at the House of Grace. And then you're over here trying to help the veterans. And then you're over here trying to help. I mean, so that's what I'm trying to get into. Like, you've got multiple things you're involved with. Right. And I want you to talk a little bit about that part of Melissa that maybe not everybody knows about.
Well, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk about that. Before I was a lawyer, I worked primarily as a registered nurse, and that put me through law school. And most of that was with veterans, but also drug and alcohol treatment.
Which,
and
by the way,
health.
getting to be an RN is not an easy task. Like, it's hard.
And I have a degree. Like, I didn't get online and get it, but I actually put a backpack on and walked across, know.
But for you to have that and being an attorney is pretty amazing, really.
I'm thankful. I'm so thankful. And I started having, as an attorney, I had a lot of the heroin addicts that were coming into my office with, various drug court issues or whatever the charges that they had. And I found that a lot of our young, at the time, heroin addicts were just suffering from profound grief because they could tell me. I mean, one girl came in my office and she said, "Yeah, I know 16 people that have died of heroin overdoses." And and then she's saying she's a heroin addict.
Right. Like, it could be tomorrow her last day.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's very discouraging when someone's actually trying to be clean and sober, and then they have 16 people that they know that have already just, succumbed to their addiction and passed away. So it was very involved, and I was doing a lot of mental health counseling in my law office. So, and there was just not enough hours in the day. So I decided to start a support group for people that had lost loved ones, that bereavement or grief group for people that, and so I met a lot of people that way. And then, and I felt really good about that. As a nurse, I'd met a lot of lawyers that were in recovery, and I didn't want to be a lawyer as a nurse, because I saw so much pain in what lawyers did. So, but I liked doing the support group, and I actually had another lawyer that said, "Why are you doing that? You're not making any money off that support group." And I was like, I feel like I'm doing something good, and, but I actually got referrals from it, and then, as a lawyer, I also help place people in treatment. So thankfully, I still have a lot of connections within the recovery community. I've used to, before COVID, went to drug court graduations. I'm very involved in the recovery community. I'm not, I don't use drugs or anything like that.
Come on, don't. No, I'm just messing with you.
But anyway, I like to go to 12-step meetings. I like to go.
Well, you want to see the success. I think, I love to see people succeed. Yeah. That's maybe one of the best things I can tell you in my life that I appreciate most. Like, when somebody tells me they're doing great, it doesn't matter kind of how they're doing great. Like, it could be, they're recovering from alcoholism, or they've got this business that's just took off and done great. I mean, I'm so happy for them. I don't ever look at people with a jealous eye. No. I never have been that way in my life. I always think, I don't have an agenda. I seen a quote the other day. You might appreciate this, but it said, "No agenda, just love." Yeah. And that's powerful. I think that's an amazing statement, because sometimes I think with things like we do, you and I mean, I don't do near as much as you, by the way. I don't want him to take credit for that. But the things I am involved with, there sometimes comes questions, what's your motive? And I'm like, I don't have one.
What are you selling me, Neil?
Yeah, that's kind of.
Where's the contract?
Right.
Is that a contract you want me to sign?
Exactly. And so I get that from a standpoint where your other attorney friends are like, I mean, what are you doing this for?
Yeah.
It's because I love helping people. Like, I'm just, like, I know how fortunate I am in my own life to get to where I am. And you got an amazing backstory that you're not even talking about. Like your survival of domestic abuse and winding up in the house of grace. And that's how you become an attorney during that time. You know, I know we ain't got all day to talk about all those things, but just so people that are listening know that she's involved with the House of Grace because she was in the House of Grace, like, because she had to be. And during that time, she had some amazing people that helped her be able to study for her bar. And then she wound up, you know, obviously becoming an attorney during that time and kind of put the nursing on the back burner for a little bit until you had opportunities to help in other ways. But your story is pretty deep, and I want to get to know the real Melissa. And that's kind of why I had you in today, because we just got glimpses of it, and it's hard to tell in an hour. I can tell you that. Yeah. So, but just not to gloss over that, the reason why you're with the House of Grace is because you are also a survivor of that program.
That's true.
And Miss Sarita and Miss Katie obviously become two of your best friends in life.
Yes.
Yeah, Miss Sarita Drake, by the way. And Miss Katie.
Miss Lorraine Katie.
Lorraine Katie. Y'all call her Miss Katie, but she has a first name.
And by the way, her husband is actually his birthday. See, his birthday was yesterday.
Oh, well, happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday. Yeah. Happy heavenly birthday.
Happy heavenly birthday.
And he was a wonderful man, and we loved him.
Because without him, she probably couldn't have succeeded in what she did.
He was supportive.
Yeah.
He was wonderfully supportive.
Yeah.
But he was related to Elizabeth Cady Stanton, who was a famous, women's suffrage about voting rights and all that. So they have a strong family history of, women's rights and,
So he is a big advocate for the ladies, in life, and that's good. I mean, like I said, again, success, that's why you're involved in so many things. You just love to see these people that you've seen on the bottom side of life, like they've hit bottom or close to it. And then you go and you try to follow their path a little bit. And that's probably how you've gotten involved in the recovery processes and stayed with them. And we talked about the Hope Center, what Stacy and those guys do. Stacy Dodd and Mr. McKinney over there, who is the principal at South Haven, Hope Sullivan South Haven. They're amazing people.
They're amazing. DeSoto County has the best people.
And I'm meeting them through you. I'll call you and be like, do you know someone that's, and I'm like, golly, those are the best. I mean, like, I'm glad I'm getting to meet all these folks through this podcast, because otherwise I don't know how I would have, other than just outreach. You just kind of like keep a new person in your life. And I'm sure that's how you got involved in these other programs. Little by little, you just meet this person from this program. They go, yeah, I'm involved in this too over here. And then you get involved in that. I'm like, this is amazing. So veterans groups, you're big into that.
I worked at the VA for 20 years. And I'll just say this, and not to throw anybody under the bus, but my dad was a draft dodger.
Okay.
And I'm grew up in the 80s, Reagan, and of course watched the Iran
gotcha.
The hostage negotiation.
Early 80s,
played out with Jimmy Carter. And I was just like, how could, America. And just, I'm a Reagan baby. So I've always loved that. Started working at the VA really young, even before I was an RN. So, I love the veterans. I've been able to, work with World War I, II, Vietnam, Korean, just wonderful experiences. And I feel like I'm entrusted with their experiences, because a lot of them were not able to tell their story. So I kind of strange fashion feel like I carry them with me.
Sure.
I carry the best of them with me. And I'm not that it's a big thing. It might be something for women, but I always have red, white.
Oh, there you go. I didn't even notice.
Even my ring finger is red, white, and blue.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's not really, it's like I'm married to the law, married to America.
Yeah, there you go.
And so I try to, be the best that I know how to be, to be the best American that I know how to be.
That's right. Patriotic.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. So my country means a lot to me. Of course, it means a lot to a lot of people, but even more so as a lawyer, I feel like I have to be civic minded and try to, I sit down in court and, talk to children and say, what can I would love to go to classrooms and read books. I've got books saved up.
Melissa,
I've
you're
got
one
about
person.
150 years of stuff I want to do.
I know it. And you got a lot going on.
I do.
And there's only one Melissa, apparently. So,
well, I got friends.
That. That's right.
I do.
But you can only go do so much yourself personally. Yeah. So I have to be mindful of that too sometimes, like when I get myself involved in things like, oof, when am I going to do that? Like I've committed to it now, so I've got to see it through. That's kind of how I work, and I know you are too. We've talked about that before. And, I know the veterans is very important to you. Recovery is important to your mental health. You've talked about that, how you help other programs. I know you've been involved in a multitude of places within the county and also in Memphis that you've sit on the boards for, and they do great things. But I guess at some point in time, you're like, okay, I've done what I can do here and help them as much as I know how, and I want to see their future bright, but this one over here needs my help now.
Yes.
That's kind of how I go through it too, Melissa. Like I'm loving Feed My Lambs, and I'm trying to give them a blueprint of how to, acquire the support they need. And I think I've done a pretty good job of it. But I knew going forward, I want to continue to do this, and I want to get involved with people like yourself and Miss Sarita and others that have great programs out there that I can also help in a different way. Not leave those guys behind, but just turn my focus a little bit more towards other programs that need some assistance. And I start meeting all these people in the community that's like-minded. And that's what I needed in my life. I didn't know it at the time, but that's what I needed. And that's how you found it, probably, I'm guessing, is that's how you meet the amazing people like Stacy and his friend. Like, that's how you meet them, right? You get involved in programs, and I mean, is that kind of how you see it too?
Yeah. I really want to touch back on something you said about that you're not in competition with anybody. I'm not trying to take over, I'm not trying to take over anything. I'm here to help. And, a lot of great ministries, a lot of great positions in nonprofits and churches and all that is you're just called to help.
Yeah, that's right.
You don't have any big epiphany from God. You don't have any, you're just like, this person needs help. And I can do something. That's right. You can't meet all the need, but you can do something.
That's right. Even if it's just volunteering. Yeah. That's how I look at it. Like when I talk about the program is, I can't save them all, but I might be able to save a couple. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I look at it.
Something. And just like, Stacy, Stacy can call me and I can call Stacy. I can get a bed. If Stacy doesn't have a bed, he can
find one.
Tune me into another one.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people
connected
like that.
Big time. Yeah, you guys.
But we're connected in the heart more than anything. If I broke, not just in recovery, but if my car broke down on the side of the interstate, I could call Stacy or I could call Miss Stephanie. I could call Neil.
That's right. You call me. Yeah.
And so, DeSoto County is just wonderful. I feel like I have so many friends, that I know how to, I may not be able to help them personally, but I know the helpers.
Sure.
Kind of like the Mr. Rogers thing where he said, focus on the helpers.
Oh, man. My mom used to say, I'd be walking through her house and she'd go, it never fails. If I say something, I'm like, let me call a buddy of mine,
That's right.
And I always I'm just that way. Cause like, if I can't do it, I know somebody can do it,
That's right.
and I'm not talking about just, it can be anything. Anything you talk about, it could be anything. It doesn't matter what it is, painting, mechanic, it don't matter. So I've tried to surround myself, not intentionally, just it happens kind of organically with people that you meet in life. And like you were talking about, just meeting good, genuine people. And there's so many out there.
Right.
I think for the most part, everybody's good. And sometimes they don't know how to help, Melissa. Like they just don't know where to put it.
This is an epiphany later in life.
Yeah.
There are bad people out there.
There's some bad ones, but I think the high majority of folks.
As long as they pay their legal bills, we're okay together.
Right. But I don't think they're all bad, Melissa.
No, they're not all bad.
And those percentages of, I look at the jail dockets almost daily, just because sometimes I'm looking at like what kind of crime's going on in the community. Not so much the individual. And then I'll run across somebody I know and I'm like, dang. Like
it happens.
Yeah, it happens, and it could happen to me, and like in the weirdest thing, like a failure to appear or something. That's not a big deal. You don't pay your ticket. Like if you got a speeding ticket, you're going to go to jail if you don't show up. And
I'll come see you, though, Neil. I'll come see you.
They will let you out, but they're going to make your picture famous on the internet just because you didn't pay your ticket. And but however, the high majority of it is, it's not a large percentage of folks, really. You think it's a lot of people, really, when you start looking at the docket. But we got a couple 100,000 people live in the county. And if there's 20 people a day, that's not that many that are getting in trouble. And they're really not in trouble. Like major crimes, there's not a lot of major stuff we see. So we do have a great community of people. And I think a lot of them, what I was trying to get at is there's a lot of them that want to help. They just don't know where to help.
Right.
And we also got these amazing programs that are highly important to our community. I always talk about St. Jude's and Le Bonheur. Those are amazing. I mean, we can't say enough about them.
Right.
And they need the support. But they are such a multinational, especially here in the country. I mean, those guys are getting support from everywhere.
Right.
And I always say that continue to support them. But try to find something local to get involved in that impacts your community, or a child that's immediately in your community, or a business. Shop local. If your friend owns a restaurant, I don't care if he's bad. Just try to go in there and buy something. You know what I mean? So, that kind of thing. So I'm always like, give it back to the local people. I'm really like, shop local as much as you can. If I can walk into a store and buy it opposed to ordering it on Amazon, I know it's not nearly as convenient, but I do it. You know what I mean? So, and I wish they had a Melissa's Hardware or grocery store. And we don't have that no more, because I would shop there. Even if it cost me more, I would shop there. The convenience stores, man, I ain't gonna lie to you. I wished there was something that I could support that way. So,
but you are. You're doing it right here.
Right. So, spreading the word, getting it out. And by the way, I want to talk about that real quick. Okay. We as we get into this, I want to say Melissa Dabar it also has a webpage you can go to. It's Dabar Law. It's DEBAR. DABAR. Dabar. I remember you telling me that the first time I met, like Dabar's. Yeah. DabarLaw.com. It's DABARLAW.com. And you can reach them over there at 662-469-4411. If you guys you need her services or want to talk to her about something you got on your mind, I'm sure she'd love to hear from you, even if it's just a simple question about something you don't know about.
But not at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, that phone number won't get you at 3 o'clock in the morning, though, right?
No.
Yeah.
Some people still have my cell phone number.
I know. Listen, I got the same problem.
And they've called me at 3 o'clock in the morning crying because somebody took their drugs.
Oh, my goodness.
Miss Melissa.
I'd have to call the cops on them. I think I'd just be like, hey, Deputy or Sheriff Tuggle, can you go over there and pick them up?
Can you go pick them up? They need some help.
They need some assistance over there. Yeah.
Somebody stole my drugs.
Yes, absolutely.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, Melissa. Well, you've been their ultimate defender. So now
I'm the only person that would answer the phone at 2 o'clock in the morning.
And probably Stacy Dodd, by the way. He would probably answer it too.
Stacy would answer my phone.
Yeah. But he'd answer theirs, I think. Yeah.
And I've had people call me at 2 o'clock in the morning, stop by the law.
Oh, my goodness.
And they're like, well, I'm calling my lawyer. And they're like, there ain't no lawyer in DeSoto County that'll answer your phone.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll answer the phone for some people. I'll answer the phone for you, Nick.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping I never have to call you in that circumstances. I mean,
careful now.
Knock on wood. Is there any real wood in the studio? but
it's all up here, Neil.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is up there, and it doesn't have. Yeah, but I know the sincerity of what you do and impact that you're trying to provide, and it's not. There's no agenda, like I said. I know you're purely doing it out of the heart of just trying to give back and trying to guide people maybe from your own mistakes or where you didn't see things in life. We talked about the domestic violence stuff that you were involved with House of Grace and that you landed yourself there. So we have this ability sometimes when we go through things, we can see it from the outside better than the person sitting inside the problem, so we can go, okay, these are the things you don't need to do. And I know you love that dude, but you cannot take him back, that kind of stuff. We were talking about Sarita, that wheel of power that y'all discussed on here was really impactful for me. Because I actually, as a man who's never, I didn't think I'd been through it. But looking back on it, I went through it. I mean, there was these things. And then after we had that show, there were some things that took place in the community. There was a real horrible situation just south of us here where a man took his life and his wife's life in front of their child. Like literally the day we were doing the show, and we didn't know it. And I just started.
And it's happening everywhere.
Every day. Yeah. And recognizing that, and how to get out, and how to get the help, So even Melissa in this case, I mean, she's tied to that. So if you call that number, they'll get you in touch with her, and they'll put you in the right place, and she can guide you through it. So if you need some help trying to get out of your circumstances in a domestic situation, Miss Sarita, I know she doesn't mind, obviously, and that's another thing. Do you want to mention the House of Grace stuff?
I do. I wanted to say, too, that everybody needs help.
Oh, yeah.
On something.
Yeah.
I
got a bad dog right now. I need some help trying to keep him from chewing up my shoes every day.
Do you have shoes on today,
No laces, though. No laces. He got all my laces.
Neil?
I do have shoes on, but they're
Derek,
no
Neil has no shoes
That's
on.
Right.
But everybody needs help. And the biggest barrier to people seeking help, whether it's domestic violence or, substance issues or whatever, is people are embarrassed.
A lot of times, yeah.
So it means a lot to me to be trusted that, to me, everybody needs somebody they can talk to.
Sure.
I've talked to, mayors. I've talked to different people and I'm not saying, I shouldn't say mayors plural, but I'm just saying people who've served as a mayor, you know. It's no, domestic violence is no respecter of person. I've talked to a psychiatrist in my office. I've talked to doctors and lawyers, and there's, whether it's domestic violence or substance issues or whatever, it's no respecter of persons. We all have problems.
Sure.
And we need somebody we can talk to.
Yeah. And then somebody that it's going to be confidential.
Right.
That's another important thing. Somebody that maybe it's gone through what you've gone through. Even like Stacy was telling me in his program, like there's nothing better. Like family's not going to help these people. Right. Has to be somebody that's went through it, even in the drug side of it, to where they can relate to you and go, well, he got through it. And he's way worse than I was, and he's on the other side of it 25 years now and helping other people. Maybe I can be that person, and same thing with domestic violence. Like you made it out the other side, and when there was times you probably thought there ain't no way out of this. I'm going to die.
Well, and it's also a maintenance issue. It's not like something you're going to get over in 2 weeks. And the more you study it and the more you process it, the more you realize that there's years and decades that this was an issue that was coming down the pipe. But I would say this about whether it's domestic violence or drug and alcohol, there's a recovery of that. And I like to say I don't abuse drugs, but I'm addicted to recovery stories. I love it when people get clean and sober. And when I say clean and sober, I'm not talking about passing a drug test. Right. I'm talking about having a clean heart and a sober mind. Yeah. So a lot of times people are clean and sober, they can pass tests, but their heart's not clean, their mind's not sober. They still have all the stinky thinking that they have.
That's right. Which leads us into, let me talk about this while I put my glasses back on, is Miss Dabar, Dabar has decided that she's going to start doing her own podcast.
Ooh.
So
add
people
applause.
be looking. Yeah, add applause. If you got a button in here, Derek, that we can hit? I don't even know if any of these buttons work over here. That ain't it. Yeah. Stop pushing buttons, Neil. Those don't work over there. Yeah. But I think the same way I was kind of inspired a little bit by our friend Chris Camp at Motivated with Coach Camp. You always check out his website. But I came on his show and I was like, this is an awesome platform and the setup's good. Very professional done. Derek's obviously an amazing person, a producer, and whatever else he does. I don't know. I don't know the names.
He's also a dad.
Yes, he is.
A single dad.
A single dad.
Oh, yeah.
With a 16-year-old,
Whoa,
I believe. Yeah,
a 16-year-old.
Yeah. So his life, I think she's a wonderful child.
I think he may be one of my guests in the future.
He may be. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, he may be.
But you've seen what we were doing when I had you on the House of Grace, and I know and I was the same way. I had ideas like, how do I reach more people with these great stories and ideas of what is going on in our community? How do we get people involved? How do we make people aware that there's this help out there if you need it? Or how do you get involved in helping yourself, like volunteering at House of Grace or volunteering at Feed My Lambs or volunteering at, whether it be Meals on Wheels. Just anything, the Hope Center, whatever it may be, how to get involved and give your time at the very minimum, or as you would say, and I'm not that way, but pray for them, whatever, like give them some hope in themselves, and like that there is going to be good things come to them. So she has decided, with probably me a little bit of urging her,
yes,
to do her own show and tell her stories of recovery from this side of the table as an interviewer, bring in some of the people she's seen succeed and some of the family members that's watched their children go down, and then maybe come back up, and then maybe not. like in some cases. So be looking forward to that. It'd be I don't know what she's going to call it, but I think it'd be crazy if it just the Melissa Dabar show. You know what I mean? It would probably be just as well as that, because I
need a name.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, come on, guys, help me out here. I need a name.
I think just Melissa Dabar show. I mean, I think that's fine. It's kind of like Johnny Carson. Like everybody knows Johnny Carson, right? So, I'm just kidding you. But you'll come up with something. That's going to be coming down the pike soon, so y'all be looking for that. And obviously, we'll be trying to spotlight it on our shows and pushing it and inviting you to like her page and all that stuff, as she has done for us. So, be looking for that. And I know you're excited about it, a little nervous because it's something you haven't been used to doing, and it's another thing you got to commit to. But
it's worth it. It
is. When I talk about how I was making phone call after phone call after phone call trying to raise awareness to my program, and I'm like, I can't keep doing this. Like, it gets bigger and bigger each year, the fundraising, and I just kept thinking, how do I reach more people with? Not that it's not less effort. This is not as easy as people think, but ultimately it came to, like, I can not only help them this way with the podcast, but I can also bring attention to other things that's important in the community, not just to me, but just the community itself. So the topic may not be what everybody's interested in, but it's like, oh, I didn't know House of Grace still existed. I've had people tell me that because they shut down their retail shop. They thought, well, they closed up. I'm like, no, that was just a place to help fund them. The house still exists somewhere in DeSoto County where they're protecting these ladies and their children from abuse. Yeah. It's still there, and they need help, and they need, people to come in and support them, Right. So again, that was crazy somebody said that even after I did the podcast. I'm like, well, you need to go back and watch the show.
Exactly. Yeah, watch the podcast.
Yeah, watch the podcast. So, so I'm looking forward to that too, and I'm excited for you. I hope it really takes off. And my thing is, I don't care if 2 people are watching, or 10, or 100, or 1,000, whatever the case may be. If we reach one person, that's right, that we can impact with the information we're putting out there, it's worth every penny.
That's right.
That's how I see it. And it costs us out of our pockets, folks. We have, I'm fortunate enough to have a couple of good sponsors, but it still costs us. These things are not free. They don't just get done on their own. If I did it, wouldn't even get to air. You know what I mean? Like, if I tried to produce it. So we have to have a good studio. We have to have good equipment. We have to have good producers. We have to have good editors. All that stuff. So, I'm just excited for you to come and join our team.
I appreciate it. Yeah. You're a connector, and I am too.
Yeah.
And Derek is phenomenal at what he does. And I've had people ask me about doing a podcast and interviewing people. And I thought, well, I don't have a bunch of money for curtains and a studio.
Cameras, that's the money.
Cameras, and I don't know how to work them and sync them up with the computer.
Yeah, none of that stuff.
And Derek's just in there, just a wizard in there on that computer. I can already tell.
Yeah.
And so he makes it easy. It's worth it.
People ask me, like, Neil, do you do all that stuff on your own? I'm like, I don't know where it even starts.
But I know who does.
Yeah, but I put you in touch with a guy.
We're connectors. That's what we do, and that's and also, if we take care, and this is my belief, but basically, if I say this pretty frequently, if I take care of God's business, He'll take care of me. So I trust that as I take care of other people, then God will take care of me.
I think it's going to be rewarding. Yeah. I think so. For me, I find it extremely rewarding when I get done with the show, and I feel like if anything else, man, we got the word out there. There's some lady like with y'all's House of Grace episode. I don't know the impact it had. I will never know, because I don't know how it comes to them. But some lady might have watched that her daughter's going through that or something.
Right.
We don't know. But that was worth all the conversation.
If it's just one.
Yeah, it's just one. Yeah. That's the way I look at Feed My Lambs. Like, we feed 150 kids a weekend, up to that amount, and sometimes a little more. And somebody goes, but they probably, I'm like, I don't care. If one kid out of that whole group survives that weekend, that's how I look at that. Maybe they don't starve. It's worth every penny. I don't care what it costs, because that's our future, and that's a living, breathing little human being that we're just not even thinking about. Like, I just, it just drives me crazy.
We take food for granted.
We really do.
I'm not trying to trample.
I'm
not trying to trample on your ministry, but in my mind, poverty is one of the hardest, the most damaging to children is poverty. And especially when it comes to food, it's not just the food you put in their belly. It's that somebody cared enough that, you're not a parent, you're not the mother, father, grandma, or whoever who normally provides food, but you're a stranger, and you look beyond their circumstance, and you show them that they had value, that somebody, cared enough about the hunger that they felt, compassion. Right. And so I just, in my mind, we have all kinds of issues that, on this earth that, you and I, in the best of DeSoto County and America, we couldn't solve all the problems that are here. But if we can do what we can do and show people that we care, a lot of times they need to know somebody cares more than they need to know about that what you put in their belly. Sure. It's that you cared, that you saw them and noticed that their situation. You know?
This recognition sometimes is like, man, they saw that in me when I was little. Yeah. You know what I mean? Stacey and him told a good story about a kid that went pro. He remembered him for thinking, like he was a football player, Nakobe Dean, and he was from Horn Lake, and he came through their program, and he remembered them when he got to successful status in his life, and because they impacted him. They didn't know how they impacted him or something like that. But what's cool is, Melissa, I'm finding out more and more, every area in the country has got something similar going on. Like they all got these programs, and they all got people like us trying to push them and try to get awareness to them. That's what's amazing about America. Like I've got friends, and I mean, I say this all the time. I'm from 2 significant different places, or 3 now that I live here. But I seen the other day a girl that used to work for me. She was a great friend of mine. She was on page talking about a food backpack program, much like what we do in her community. And I need to reach out to her and see how they're doing it and what they're calling it, and tell her what amazing work she's done. And then a good friend of mine, his wife over in Alabama, she works in the Georgia side of things, but she works with the little ones too, like the kindergarten level, and they were talking about how they do something similar. And so it's not just a local issue. No. This is nationwide, folks. And this is a problem. That's where I'm getting to. Like, we got these amazing people. But what are we talking about where this is going on all over the country? It is. And these are not necessarily poor areas, by the way. No. They're just, the disenfranchised sometimes is not just poor. Sometimes there's abuse in the home. Sometimes there's drugs in the home. There's alcoholism in the home. They got a great job, but they're functional somehow, but their kids are not necessarily their main focus. All they're trying to do is get home, get that next drink, or whatever the case may be. We don't know what's happening to that child. And we don't know what happened to that woman or that man. So that's why all these programs are so important for the mental health, whatever. It's a real deal. It's a problem in our society to where we can't fix it all, but we can help a few. Right. As we just try as individuals, check on your neighbor. Right. Sometimes they need a little bit of attention, and not just the people in your house, that's important, but like teach your children how to care about the community, teach them how to, do community service and get involved, and don't be afraid to give the guy on the sidewalk a couple of bucks for something, and don't question what he does with it. That's the biggest thing. You're poking at me. No, do you do that? No, I don't. Oh. No, because I will help them get into treatment. Yeah, but I mean. But I'm not going to give anybody on the side of the road money. I will. I don't, see. Yeah, let me tell you why I do. That's different. I don't feel convicted either. Yeah, I know. But like if I'm up, this happened to me this past summer. I was going up to pick my daughter and her wife and my wife. They went to a show downtown. They were staying in hotels. So I went out and pick them up Saturday morning. Yeah. Or whatever, Sunday morning. And you know how downtown Memphis is. It's crazy. Like you got the greatest of things, and then all of a sudden that's where I take my hood car. Yeah, for sure. I don't take my real car down there. I take my hood car. There you go. Well, this was in downtown where all the nice stuff was, and stuff. But it was like 10 o'clock in the morning, and there's this dude laying on the asphalt. Just laying there. And it was hot, man. This is like July, It had to have been 110 degrees outside. And I'm like, he's got to be cooking. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way. So I just roll up next to him and look down at him, and I hand him some money. And everybody in the car was like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I don't know what he needs, but he don't need to be laying on that asphalt. And I don't know where to take him. So he can either go get a burger or he can go buy him a beer. I don't care what he does, but he needs it. I can't leave here knowing that he don't have something. My heart's got to feel a little better. It does, man. And look, and sometimes I've had people say, well, he's just going to buy a drink with it. And I'm like, well, maybe he needs a drink right now. That's your business. Yeah, yeah. Detox is Yeah.
I mean, detox is hell.
It's hell. That's what I know. So, I mean,
is.
that's what I'm talking about. So, like, he may need a drink right this moment, you know, and then somebody else come along and help get him into a program. I don't know how to do that. So, I'm just trying to get him through the next, you know, hour of his life, maybe, you know, because, like, you just don't know what's happening. So, that's how I'm convicted. I'm a little bit probably, you know, naive to a lot of things when it comes to that. But be damn me, I ain't going to drive off.
You're fine.
No, I'm not doing that.
You do what is
helps
on
me.
your heart.
Yeah. And I don't judge others for what they do. Like, and if they don't give, I don't judge them. I might kind of be like, well, dude, you know, you've been pretty blessed in life. You know, maybe you should be thinking about more than just yourself, you know. But I don't say it to them, and I don't really make them think I'm thinking that. But I might be, just so you know. And there's some of them I'll shame. I got a couple of buddies. They're like, well, I'll give you a little money for a program. How much? Yeah. And I'm like, no, you're going to dig deeper. You know what I mean?
My little lambs don't have the best.
Yeah, that's right. And I can only do that with my best of friends, by the way. And they're like, well, dang, Neil, how much you need? And I'm like, you just need to up the number. Yeah, what you got in your pocket. Yeah, so, but I don't do it a lot. But however, I know the ones that can do better, and they usually will once they realize it's an important thing, you know. Right. I think a lot of times, Melissa, it's just us making people aware. You know, because they're not. I was walking through life not aware at all about my little program I'm involved with. You know,
I didn't know about it till I came on the show.
Yeah, right. And I mean,
I didn't know.
My mom was entrenched in it for 15 years or whatever it existed. You know, and I had no clue about it. My kids went to school there. I mean, I was just blind to it. You know, so when it opened my eyes, and then I obviously doing that year after year, I start calling places. They go, well, we're involved in this, and then you start meeting other people that's involved in other programs. It's not tied to that, but like. That's how I got to know about the House of Grace and places like that, and the Hope Center and the Dream Centers and all the stuff that's around the community. And there's many, many more. I'm just scratching the surface, you know. And
if we don't have it, maybe somebody needs to start it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And like I always say when you're listening to this, if you need some help, like if you got an idea, reach out to me, or I know Melissa too, like anybody on the show that I ever have on are all like givers. So they'll either, you know, show you a path.
Right.
Or invite you in so you can see kind of how it works, and then maybe go start your own thing if you have that kind of compassion to do so, because I don't think there could ever be enough, you know. I mean, but you know, you have to have it to where it's something you're going to live it, because it will absolutely ride you down at times. Like you'll be thinking, how did I get involved with this?
I've had, you know, nonprofits contact me or people with a dream or an idea, and they're like, you know, my pastor told me about you. Would you talk to me? And so I've talked to him, and I'll say, here's what you got to do. These are the things. These are the barriers, or these are, you know, you've got to do, you know, go through the board of supervisors, and these are the people that, you know, or you need to meet. And,
these are the power people in the community.
Yeah, right. These are people that are doing something similar to you, and you go and ask them for their policy. And if you don't ask them, I'll ask them for you. Right. You know, I'm going to go down there and I'm going to ask, because we need that in this. You know, there's certain there's kind of like ground level, you know, birds. Sure. And then as we kind of rise up, we see more opportunity that these are how these pieces fit together, and then. As I kind of like to say, eagles, like me and you, Neil. Come on,
I'm an eagle.
Yeah, we're both eagles.
Am I a bald eagle? Because I like the power of the bald eagle.
No, I like your hat.
Well, if I lift it up, I may be a bald eagle. It's been getting thinner and thinner all the time.
You're perfect. I can't see that well anyway. Thank you. As we kind of lift up, we see even, you know, the bigger picture, especially as, you know, we kind of get older and that sort of like, man, I wish I'd have known this when I was 20.
Boy, I no doubt.
You know, and so, you know, people do look to us to try to figure out, you know, we want to get them jump started so they can, we don't want them wasting any time. There's too much work to do.
Well, that's kind of like with the Demolay boys I mentioned before on our program. They're kind of like the Hope Center. But they're young men focused, you know, third grade to seniors or whatever, same thing, teaching them how to be community service and mentoring them into things.
Yes.
I kind of had that, but not, I mean, I guess I got that from my mom and my dad just organically, and my grandparents. They were all givers, you know, like they were trying to help their neighbors, and even if they didn't like them, they'd be trying to help them, you know, and so I got that just naturally, and then I passed it on to my kids. But like, there's so many family members, or people in the community, they don't see it. And they may be the ones receiving it, so they don't even know how to give, because they're needing the help so bad that they don't know how to get it. But that kid can be aware of where it came from and maybe become a part of that system later on, you know, to where they give back and they become a real big part of the community and trying to help their sector of the world, that maybe they understand it. But that's the thing, just educating the young ones as they're coming up, trying to get them started earlier and earlier in these mentor programs. That's why I think it's like so important, the work that Stacy and those guys are doing, and then Adam Henson, who runs the Demolay Boys, and then obviously, it can go all the way down to our DeSoto County Search and Rescue Team. They have a junior league and stuff that they do, and they do amazing work, because they're teaching these young people how to help the community. And I can go on. And then Jennifer Christian I had on last week, she's doing it with young ladies.
Yes.
From 3 to 18.
Yeah.
And she's trying to, so this is amazing. And I mean, I'm telling you, like, I didn't know all this stuff existed. So get involved. Something that you link on to, just find it somehow. If you got some time to give, or a little money. I mean, they're always needing money. That's the main component to
That's
everything.
The easy thing.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie about it. I am gonna lie about it. Like, the money is really what makes everything go round in this stuff. Time is important. They always need volunteers, but at the same time, you got to get involved.
If you don't know, I'll find somewhere for you.
And by the way, I'm not educated on this. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing.
I help you plug in somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. But I didn't. They ask me all the time, like, how did you learn how? I'm like, I don't know. I say, I seen a problem, and I was like, I see where you're lacking. The awareness of your program is why you ain't got no money. Like, nobody knows about it, so they can't give to something they don't know about. So only the people involved in that ministry would know about it, or the people who received it at school, or you worked at school. So you got a big problem. Now those people have the money to help you, and so then I just get on the bike and start talking about how I can get the word out. So it's just spreading a constant word, advertising it. And then we're doing a big thing this year, building a truck to give away. I don't know if I told you about that.
Yes, you did.
I want to mention them real quick. Outlaw Intentions, they're helping us down there. Derek will bring their picture up as
they're
we
not
spoke.
My clients, by the way.
They're amazing kids.
You said
and
Outlaw Intentions?
Yeah, they're Outlaw Intentions. They could be.
Not Dabar Law clients.
Yeah.
These are not going to be Dabar Law clients.
Garrett or Max. If y'all get in trouble, call Melissa Dabar.
Outlaw Intentions.
For hot rodding and whatever it is. But that's the name of their group, and they're building this truck through me. My friend Randy, who owns Roofworks, I don't do anything without him, by the way. He helps me with everything, my ideas, his ideas. We get together. But anyway, they're going to help build us a truck we're going to give away at the 67 step side. We're going to take $100 donations per ticket. It's going to be an amazing resto mod. And Ronnie Giesland at Ronnie's Hot Rods, him and his family are painting it for us. And I didn't know the value of that until people told me, like, this guy's like you're not just getting, that's a gift.
Legendary.
Yeah, legendary stuff. Yeah. So I want to thank all those partners on that part of it. But it's another way. I was like, how do we build this to where I don't have to personally walk around and do this?
Knock on doors.
Yes. I was getting to the point
you
where
don't have to have a yard sale.
No, man. Yeah. So thinking bigger. I don't know how I do it. That's what I'm trying to get back at. It just comes naturally. We're just people want to help and give. And that's all it is. So we're always coming up with ideas. And then Randy's the one that came up with the idea about the truck. We talked about it in the past. I'm like, not yet. It's not there yet. Let me get the car show built up and the fundraiser built up, and then we'll do it to where we've maxed that, and then we'll go to this next level of what we can get in there. We're probably going to have to find a new facility. The church is great, but the parking lot, I mean, it's big, but it may not be big enough, especially if it rains. We can't use the grassy areas. So, but any of you guys are interested in that, we'll have that advertising as we get closer to getting the truck done. We're working on it intently right now. Those guys are amazing people down there. I want to thank Connor Matthews, Strayhorn Trucking, his dad, all those guys that got me involved with them. And I mean, everybody's kind of pitching in. We've just got a good group of folks. That's really it. And by the way,
about our cars.
Well, I'm not even a car guy.
I mean, Mid-South. I mean, this is like
it's everywhere.
Street racing.
Yes, all that stuff.
Memphis International Speedway and
and then my friend Clyde Bynum that owns Spider Off-Road was telling me they're doing something with Tanger starting next month. Every last Thursday of the month or something, they're going to have like a big car get together. It'll be crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It will be. And he was saying they're going to use him to kind of help spotlight it and grow it a little bit. So I want to give them a little love too, because Clyde's a good friend of mine and always supports us too. So, but anyway, is there anything you want to add today, Melissa? We've been talking a little bit. What you got going on that you're really trying to focus on right now?
Neil, I just want to say thank you.
You're welcome.
For doing what you're doing and
myself.
Yes, I appreciate what you're doing.
I got you.
I was on the telephone with somebody just, before I walked in here, and they were a little discouraged because they were not thanked appropriately, maybe.
Yeah.
And it just inspires me to be more intentional about, thank God your mom was a good woman, and she taught you to be good, and I'm thankful that you continue to do what you do.
I'm just trying my best, man. Like I said, it goes
but
back.
It means something. It means something to so many. It touches. If you could, look the connections that you're making and the impact that you're making, you're encouraging. You encourage
thank you.
me. And
I appreciate that.
House of Grace people and Stacy.
We've had some great guests. I'm excited about going on and spreading the word
Pretty
more.
in Pink. You had Pretty in Pink.
Precious in Pink.
Precious
that's
in
right.
Pretty in Pink.
They probably are pretty in pink. Some of them, I don't know, but probably not in the jail cell.
Probably not in the pink.
Yeah, they probably don't have their eyeliner and all that stuff in jail. But Precious in Pink.
But
I talked to Miss Ann today through text.
Miss Ann.
She's an amazing person. So, like I said, she's another one that's doing, she may be the most organic one of them all as far as doing it on her own. Like, I know she's had a lot of outside support that's come and helped her, but she got her own house opened up to people.
That's a big commitment.
It's a big commitment.
To open your house.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yes.
And she's a special lady.
Yes,
I don't think there's another Miss Ann. And I really don't, man, because it takes a lot to invite those kind of, I'm not saying I think they're amazing people, but they're in a phase of their lives to where they're unpredictable.
Right.
It's like a stray dog that you don't know if it's going to bite you. So I told her that when I was like, "How do you?" She goes, "You just don't." She goes, "It's all about the love and stuff."
She feels led to do it.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
And that's the only way you could do it.
So support them too, Precious and Pink in DeSoto County, and Miss Ann Lunsford, man, she needs support. It may be, she said her biggest needs toilet paper most of the times.
Paper needs.
Paper needs, because there's a house full of women. Yeah. So, and but again, I mean, I thank you for that compliment. I'm certainly in the same position you are. As probably don't get enough. I mean, I'm not trying to get it for any. There's no agenda. Like I said. Just pure love and giving. And I'm going to try to live my life by that saying. I'm going to start using it a little bit. I've seen that. And it's very impactful for me. Like when people ask why, if you focus that much on your job. And I'm like, hey, I'm working. You know what I mean?
This is my job.
This is kind of my job.
Part of your job.
Yeah, it's part of my job is spreading the word. And they were a good friend. They didn't mean anything by it. They just thought the effort you're putting in for nothing. I'm like, but you don't understand.
No.
It's not for nothing.
Because you're being led by the heart.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like the attorney that said, "Why are you starting a support group?"
Yeah.
And I was like, how are you going to get clients out of that? How are you going to? And that's not why I'm doing it.
Right. It's not a personal agenda.
I just trust that if I'm a, people said that about, being a lawyer. How could you be a lawyer?
Yeah. Well,
I'm going to be who I'm called to be. I'm going to lead from my heart.
I'm not going to make apologies for being me.
No.
I'm just going to tell you that right now. So if somebody don't like it, don't listen. I got a platform. If I irritate you, then just turn it off.
Yeah.
I appreciate everybody that does listen. I love my followers, and they're growing every day. And thankful for all my friends like Melissa, who invites their friends to watch my show, and I really appreciate it because it's growing. And I don't need to be a national podcaster. I'm just trying to be a DeSoto County podcaster, or Panola County, or Tate County, or even Shelby County for that matter. I just want our local. That's why it's called the Local Yokels. And you're part of the Local Yokel group now, Melissa. So, but with that being said, I want to make sure that I thank all of our sponsors again. I want to thank you for coming on today and sharing your personal story. And I know it would take hours to get in depth for everything you do because you do a lot of stuff. But I do want to say, when you get ready for that hearse, Outlaw Intentions are your guys. They'll get that dude fixed. They would love that project, by the way, because they are just out there thinking off the cuff all the time. We'll paint it some kind of radical color.
I need another hearse.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to get them to find it. If you're listening, Garrett, Max, Connor, any of you guys, she's looking for a hearse. She wants to drive a hearse around.
I have a hearse, and I've driven it around. Now, I got a lot of flack. Like, I actually had my mechanic that was one of my clients. He says, I said, come look at this hearse with me over in Memphis, And so we went out there, and he called my secretary and said, is Melissa depressed? I said, she's wanting to buy a hearse. Why would she want to do? He didn't say he did not understand it.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't need your commentary.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy a hearse. I need you to tell me what's wrong with it.
Yeah. Did you buy it?
Oh, yeah, I bought it.
Did you drive it?
Yeah, I drove the heck out of it.
Where's it at?
It's actually in Arkansas now, but
it ain't running
during
no more.
COVID, it's not running. I need another one. I really need another one, and I need to follow through.
I think I can see you in like I think you need to be old school with it though. Nothing new. You know what I mean? It needs
like
to be
the
like
Ghostbusters. Kind
yeah, one of those kind, like from the 60s or 70s or even the early 80s, those kind of like Cadillac Lincoln style hearse, like big fenders and fins on them. Loud. Yes, very loud. I think the boys that I just mentioned, Connor, Max, Garrett, be looking.
Connectors.
Yes, connectors.
Yes,
yeah.
I need
they
your help.
They got like a fire truck. Like Connor's got a fire truck they help him build, and it's cool as all get out, and it's been turned into something it wasn't, custom rides, yeah.
It'd be, instead of us being on the bottom with domestic violence, we could drive that to vigils and
everything,
funerals,
car shows.
Because really men are the key to domestic violence.
Yeah, to stopping it. They really are. Yeah, they really are.
We need your help.
Yeah.
We desperately need men.
Absolutely. And I just, again, thank you for all you're doing, and we look forward to working with you. I can't wait to see your shows come out. And
I might let you ride in my hearse.
Well,
not in the back. I'll let you.
I was just thinking, like, that's a good one. Yeah, not in the back, by the way.
Not in the back.
You can drive me around for lunch or something. We'll get a lunch. But anyway, thanks, Melissa. I appreciate everything you're doing. And again, I want to give a shout out to RoofWorks Roofing. You can always go back to the intro, look up their information. Hamilton Landscaping for all your yard needs. Spraying, which everybody needs right now. Everybody's got the weeds coming out. I mean, good Lord, man, they're coming out everywhere at my house. Scott came over and sprayed them. They're finally dying off, thank goodness. And then, of course, always support Feed My Lambs, minormemorial.org/lambs. And with that, guys, I thank you for everything y'all do to support me, the likes, the shares, whatever. Follow us on Facebook. Primarily is kind of where most of my stuff's getting pushed right now. TikTok, of course, and then YouTube. The video episodes are there, and on Facebook, but Apple and Spotify. So we have a wide range of ways to listen, and I thank you all for it. But till next time, guys, thank you. Bye.